implementing systems that are easy for everyone to duplicate. Her techniques start with client observation to employ logic and strategy, which have overcome some of the most challenging situations. Her work has prevented suicides, home demolition, divorces, the loss of children, and job loss due to disorganization. She named her favorite technique lifestyle ergonomics, which means your stuff as it relates to you and how to effectively interact with it for long-term success. The ultimate objective of her company is to make your stuff feel more like home. While satisfying the needs of the client, she understands how clutter and paper can be an emotional burden and works to relieve her clients of the stress that it can cause. And we are very glad to have you here with us.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So, if anybody in this room thinks that you are the only one, you're not. You know, it's funny because a lot of times when I work with clients, they'll say to me, "Is this the worst?" Like, and they're serious. If I had a nickel for every time I've heard this, is mine the worst house you've ever seen? Oh no, nope. And even this little video that I'm getting ready to show you is not the worst house I've ever seen. Call me one day and I'll tell you about the worst house I've ever seen. Yeah, but it wasn't a client's house. All right, so let's look at this little video. Screen. This lady was a delight. Has anybody ever heard of hoarding before? Oh, yes. Okay. Just so you know, I'm not a fan of the show Hoarders. Because you know what? If I really had a situation going on with paper, food, whatever it is that I chose to hoard, I'd be afraid to call and ask for help. A lot of people who are overwhelmed with clutter and stress and all that, which they go hand in hand, and you'll probably see why. So life was very stressful and hard for this woman. You know, if you feel like you're going to be victimized and criticized and, you know, be made to feel bad about something that's actually very, very common, why would you call for help? Well, I get blessed when people finally let me in the door. This is after we cleaned up the floor. This is what had settled to the bottom. The door couldn't be opened. That's kind of what, this is what I mean when I say there is no floor. That's the kitchen. And what you're looking at is food hoarding. That's her paper system. That's how she handled her paper. More paper with food and bugs. The bugs were having a good time. Oh well. Checking for expiration dates. Trying to figure out what kind of bugs those are because they followed me home. That was fun. I still don't know what was in those coffee cups, but there were hundreds of them. And look, she tried to organize. No more mess. Simple organizing solutions. That article evidently didn't work. Yeah, expiration. This was just this past fall. So she had food from 2008, and that's what a botulism in a can turns into eventually. Yeah. And the food decided to escape. Yeah, that's food residue right there that you're looking at. And that's the after! Yep, that's the front door, the entrance to the front door. A real kitchen was hiding in there. Look at that, isn't that pretty? I turned her into a monster though, because then we were able to get mail workers through the door, and she was so happy she took to feeding them. She loves the boys. So even though you guys don't know this woman, could you please give her a round of applause for having the courage?
So how do you deal with paper when life is chaotic? I mean, that's the last thing. Okay, there's a commercial that used to come out for a product on television that said, "Excuse me, I thought computers were supposed to help eliminate paper in our life. Try the neat desk organizer." And it makes it seem so simple, like it's going to do everything for you, right? It doesn't. I mean, paper is a reality, and the computers, in my opinion, just made it easier for people to manufacture more reasons to send you paper, right? If you feel comfortable, just tell me, is paper a challenge for anybody in here? Raise your hands. Well, gee, see, I told you you're not alone. Paper is hard. The thing that's challenging about paper is it looks so simple and small and innocuous until you have like 1,000 sheets of it stacked up together. And when it's stacked up on your desk, laying vertically or horizontally, the pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You forget what's at the bottom. You gotta dig through the paper like little bunny rabbits trying to figure out where is that one piece of paper that you need right now, and you can't find it, right? See some heads nodding. Well, we have a surprise for that one person today. I'm going to pass around a raffle entry. Yeah, I'm like the only professional organizer or speaker who loves what she does so much she tries to give it away. Because I know how the solution can change someone's life, and it really doesn't take very much. And I've seen lives change. When Martha introduced me, if you could please take one of these and pass it around. One person today is going to win my paper system. And it's for home. However, the principles that I'm going to try and teach you today are really the same for all paper. It's basically categories. Problem is, you can't go to Walmart, Staples, you can't go anywhere and get a customized office paper system for a company such as yours. Now, I don't know how many folks there are in this room, but would you say that across the board, your paper system, filing systems, desks are all identical to each other? No. Let's see what your name, Pat. Pat? And what's your name? Amanda? All right, if Pat and Amanda had to switch places, desks, would you be able to find where Pat left off? She's laughing at me, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Do you know each other?
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So, Amanda, could you find everything in Pat's? Could you operate her desk?
No, probably.
Would your filing systems collate nicely?
I adopted a lot of her family.
Okay, that's good. So standardization is what I'm talking about. And when you standardize and simplify and make it to the point where, you know what, I want anybody to be able to come in and sit at my desk and function and to be able to find things. And that's hard. That's a challenge. And again, I don't do any of your jobs, just like many of you don't do my job. Your job is very specific to you, which is why you're here, which means your paper, your habits, your system is personalized. So how can you go to a store and buy that? You can't. So one of the first things that I like to consider about paper are the tools that you need to get organized. And a lot of the tools, it kind of breaks my heart. Let's talk about a tool that I see all the time in my clients' lives, and it's always empty. Let's see if somebody can figure out which one it is. The one that's always empty. Out of all the little bells and whistles up here, which one do you think?
Those trays?
The trays are usually full. Hey, she got it. Good job.
The what?
The expanding file. I cannot tell you how many of these failed devices I have confiscated from my clients. And I'll show you why.
No.
I guess I need say no more. They're heavy. They're front-loaded, top-heavy. And once that happens, and you're already having a bad day, right? Then you want to go home and your whoever's in your family, your household, you want to scream at somebody. That's enough to make you have a bad day. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Nothing worse than a failed system. However, the person that wins the prize, these are portable. Man, I strongly recommend that anybody who, especially at home, has a situation dealing with paper, consider one of these. It's a filing system that is portable. So you can take this to your areas of challenge. You can set one up at home for work and take it to work. Take it anywhere you want to go. One of the first solutions that I find with paper is how do you categorize it neatly enough so that you can organize it? Well, let me just pick up the paper that fell out of the failed device. It's not as hard as it seems. If I were to offer either of you, any of you, $500, I'm going to say, okay, here's all you got to do. I'm going to take you out to the parking lot. A helicopter's going to pick you up. I'm not telling you where you're going to go. It's a surprise. Just $500 at the end of it. When you get to where you're going, we'll take off your blindfolds out of the helicopter. We, let's say, flew for 2 hours. So you have no idea where you're at, right? And when I take the blindfold off of you, you realize that you're in a parking lot of a Walmart. Woo! Everybody likes Walmart. But the problem is, I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to go into the store. I want you to find me tinfoil, a set of silverware, measuring cups, and a can of food that's not expired. So there's that. That's it. Give you your little list and say you got 15 minutes. Who here does not believe they could find all of those items? Not one hand. Why? Yeah, it's a standardized system. Every single major organization, McDonald's, Dollywood, everybody has what's called branding and standardization. Meaning, I know for a fact when I stop at McDonald's, I can expect a certain taste. Just like if I were to sit by Amanda's desk and Pat's desk for a minute and standardize them so that all of their paper matches, wouldn't life be easier? So that's what I call the buddy system. One of the techniques that I employ is just like a Walmart strategy. So then that's kind of how I want you to think of it. Think of a Walmart store has different departments, right? The ladies department, kitchen department. I've got the biggest Walmart in the world in my town. I mean, when I remember when I walked in there, I was like, whoa! Okay, well, there's the clothing department. That wasn't that big of a deal because I knew where all of the departments were. They were easily identifiable. Paper is the same way. It's just a series of departments. And these are the devices or the tools, filing drawers, filing system, all that we use to separate the departments. Okay, so let's say that we're starting with a stack of paper that just fell all over the floor and now it's got to be totally reorganized. All right. Make little piles of departments first. And some of you might want to write this one down because it really, really works and it will simplify it. So let's say you've got somebody call out a form that you use all the time. What's a standard form that everybody in here might use? What is it?
Post form.
Post form? Okay. So I don't know what a post form is, but if you showed me what one was, then that would be a department. Let's say patient, something regarding a patient. Let's see. Anybody got another one? Another department of papers? What's that? Patient?
Face sheet.
Face sheet. All right, so now you've got the letter F and you've got the letter P. So now you have two piles. And I would just take a little sticky note, categorize, this is my face
Face sheet.
Face sheet. Maybe that's where Zuckerberg got the idea for Facebook. Maybe. So you set up your different departments. That's the first step. Then once you've gone through that pile of paper, you can see, wow, now I can alphabetize all these piles of paper. And if you make a little Post-it note or a cover sheet that explains what each department is as you go, we're just talking about setting up the system. Just setting up the system. I'm gonna give you an example. This one says addresses, autos, banking, bankruptcy, charity, classes, community. You notice this is all alphabetized, right? Computer, contracts, credit, dad, dental. Everything's got a department. And these are simply the tools to collect them. So I use just hanging file folders. Once the departments are all established, and it's different for everybody, but this system right here is actually pretty standardized because I use it for all of my clients. Hanging file folders with a tab in the front of the folder. You'd be amazed how many people put the tab at the back of the folder and then can't figure out why the paper always ends up in between or in the wrong spot. So I consider this little tab, the way I remember or remind clients that always goes in the front, is it's like a little handle. It helps you open up the file. And then the file folder, it's really easy to computerize your list. Once you've got everything alphabetized, you put it into a spreadsheet and make the computer do the work. Alphabetize it. You don't even have to alphabetize it yourself. Make the computer do it, because then you're saving a step, because you can print out your labels from there. All right? So with the file folders, the manila file folders, some people like to get the really, really, really fancy ones, but if it's just going in a drawer, who cares? Save your money, indulge yourself on the folders that you keep on your desk that you have to see all the time. You know, wow, I spent a whole $5, but isn't that a pretty file? I love my, then you'd be real happy to use it. Who cares about the ones that go in a drawer? These are cheap, like $5 for 50. All right, abuse of file folders is a terrible thing. They come in thirds, right? Sometimes you can buy in fifth. So this is what I would consider to be a left-hand folder. See how the tab is on the left-hand side? Can you guys at the back see? All right. Then the next one is the middle tab, right? And then the next one is the right tab. So in just a glance, I can see all three different tabs at one time. If you repeat that pattern in your filing system, just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, left, right, or left, middle, right, left. That's my husband's job, by the way. I'm like, honey, here's a box of file folders. Would you please collate them for me because I'm giving some away tomorrow? Okay. Make them work for you. Make them work. Because when you buy these folders, oftentimes they're not collated. They come in a box with all of the left hands together, all of the middles together, and all the rights together, right? Well, if you've got 15 folders that all left, and then 15 that are all in the middle, you can't see what's directly behind it. Does that make sense? The more you can see, the easier it is for you to use the system. So we started with the fact that you make category departments out of all of your paper, which would basically be a category. And from the categories, you go to the computer and alphabetize them. And these little tabs, these little plastic tabs, and by the way, after we're done talking and having a question and answer session, and we find out who our winner is, you're all welcome to come and look at this because it's very, very, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's certainly not fun to get started, especially when you're looking at a mound of paper that just fell out of a failed device. Maybe you're depressed, because let's talk about the relationship. Okay, that lady that you saw, Brenda. You suppose Brenda was loving life? No one had been in her home for 15 years. The reason that the last image that you saw was of her door, the best solution that she could come up with was hanging a piece of tissue paper in her window, because you can't find curtain rods for an oval window. So going to the mail was a big social event for her, because for once she come out, she's safe, nobody can see inside, run to the mailbox, get her mail, come in, squeeze through the door. She had marks on her belly from squeeze. I call them a birth canal. If y'all think I'm playing about birth canals, I'm not. Some people gotta squeeze into their house. There was absolutely no floor, and she was sleeping on a couch covered with stuff. I'm like, doesn't your back hurt? So then, when that didn't work, she moved out of her house into the neighbor's house. So she would just move in with other people under the guise of taking care of somebody who's sick. But really what she was doing was trying to find a nice environment so that she could hide away, from the fact that she didn't have any real place to sleep. Right? So life was hard. There is a direct correlation between stuff and depression. And when Martha introduced me and said depression, the suicides, that is a true story. The woman called me, a client. By this time, the stuff, and I'm not being disrespectful when I say this, because I do believe that, we make jokes about, oh, she's so crazy. No, this one really was. The stuff had made her literally lose her mind. And I'm not over-exaggerating. I still talk to her. She's still crazy, but I got to keep my eye on her, right? Because I worry about her. Hoarding now is an actual syndrome. Being disorganized is really a function of life. That's why my slogan for my company is, when stuff happens, we know what to do. Because the stuff is always just a manifestation of what's going on in the mind. I'll give you a good example. All right, a little story. I'm going to call her Kristen. That's not her real name, but I give everybody nicknames so that nobody knows, and I respect everybody's confidentiality. Kristen has this wonderful husband, house in South Knoxville, and grew up in a family of hoarders. Her mother was the child of a hoarder who probably didn't learn certain skills. She grew up with a hoarding mother. So grandmother was a hoarder, mother is a hoarder. She thought she was a hoarder. She's just disorganized. There is a difference. Hoarding is rare. That word is so overused and terrifies people. Is anybody in here afraid of that? You don't have to raise your hand. Just audibly whisper. Your neighbor won't care. Just say. Is anybody afraid of being a hoarder? I am. Can you imagine hiring a professional organizer who also is a hoarder? That wouldn't work out so well, right? It's this big secret fear that I don't want to be like my mother, I don't want to be like my grandmother, I don't want to be like this, but I don't know what to do. Then life takes over, meets this wonderful man, they buy a house together. She doesn't know how to set up a house. Why does she not know how to set up a house? No one ever showed her. She didn't know. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her. So she's living her life, beating herself up. Oh my God, we can't let anybody in the house. And do you really love me, dear? And I'm sorry that I live this way. But stuff all over the floor. Okay, that means there's a tool missing usually. For instance, with paper, there's usually a tool missing because you can't buy that at Walmart. That's it in a nutshell. So for all these millions of people who are living in our country, beating themselves up unnecessarily, might I add, because this is a very common thing, but it's a secret. Because we're all supposed to be perfect, right? Everybody in here is perfect, right? Raise your hand if you're perfect. Every one of you better raise your hands. Of course you're perfect. But life takes over and the neat desk organizer ain't coming. If you can afford it, you get it. Trust me, the gadget doesn't just do everything all by itself if you push a button. That's good marketing. That's all that is. So she marries this man. She doesn't know what to do with her paper. Usually paper is a problem for everybody. Everybody, because it comes in the mail every day. You get it at work. Your kids bring it home from school. Everybody is trying to push paper on you. Too bad they can't sell it to you. Oh, that's right, they do. Advertising. Products. And now we got to get more stuff to fix our stuff. I mean, that's the way the American economy has kind of been set up. We all need more stuff. And then it feels really good to go buy that candle. And you know what? While I'm at it, I'm going to get a pair of shoes because I don't want to deal with my paper. I like shoes and food better. Ooh. All right, so she's depressed. Then she finds out, well, I left something out. 3 robberies happened at her house. The first one, she thought, oh my God, this is how me and my husband are going to die. There is a stranger in my living room, and my husband is trying to find the gun, and they see my mess. She literally worried about the fact that the dude who's a stranger there to rob her couldn't find her stuff to rob because her house was a mess. I'm like, well, God works in mysterious ways. Your stuff saved your life. Second time it happens, her mother is there. Mother and a defenseless daughter, terrified. What are we going to do? We're going to die. We're going to die. Call the police. This time, she called 911 and she said, my husband is getting the gun. They were there in 4 minutes. Now she's embarrassed to let the police officers in because there's paper all over the floor. Why is there paper over the floor? She doesn't have anywhere to put it. Doesn't know what to do with it. And she thinks something's wrong with her. Can you imagine? The loss of self-esteem for no reason. So now that builds the depression, right? I'm sure this is sounding familiar to somebody. Maybe not the, oh my God, this is how I'm going to die thing, but you can relate. Third burglary happens. They're not there. And they could tell that somebody had been in the house rifling through this stuff, but couldn't find anything to steal other than video games. It's like, why would you go through risking getting killed over video games? Those are easy to find because the husband kept those organized. That's funny to me. Anyway, so they buy another house, take what's valuable, and boxes of paper, just boxes of paper. Throw the paper in a box, just throw it in a box. Now she really can't find anything. She was already disorganized. So now she's taking something that was disorganized, throwing in a box where she can't find anything at all. Now she's become more disorganized. Something's wrong with her, she thinks. Finds out she's pregnant with twins. Wow, right. When the doctor told her, she just kept saying, oh no. Oh no. She said the doctor was trying to do a wellness check because he thought she was going to have a nervous breakdown. Thinking, I would have been crying. Twins are coming. 6 months later, her mother dies. Unexpectedly. So now she inherits all her mother's stuff and all of her mother's paper, and by law, she's the only one who's able to be the executor of the will, and she doesn't know what to do with paper. So what does she do? One of the things that all of my clients do is, what is bothering us most is usually the thing that we put right in front of our face. I don't know why. So I'm in there, she's got a big 65-inch screen TV, 2 twins, 2 beautiful baby boys, this wonderful husband, and the box of her mother's estate. Basically, she's reminding herself every day for the past 6 months that my mom died and I've got to take care of all that paper. I mean, I'm surprised her ashes weren't in the box. If you're going to torture yourself, why not go all the way? So, mother died, she had to take care of the will. Babies are born prematurely right after mom dies. So she's suffering through grief. Now you know postpartum depression. Nursery's not set up, so add on top of all that depression, she feels like a failure. I'm like, but darling, you didn't know those babies were coming 3.5 weeks early and you weren't prepared for your mother to die, and so what? You have stuff on your floor. That's why I'm here. Yay! We had so much fun. In 2 days, this was just this week, she had a psychologist appointment to go to. When I tell you the stuff makes your mind, paper is the worst, and I'm not playing. I'm steady taking care of the paper because I know what's coming for her. I'm excited. I need to start with one container of important paper that cannot get lost. I need to know where this is. This is my mother's will. I gotta know. Okay. Important paper. Bills that have to be paid. Stuff that I need right now. Forms that are very, very important for today. But then all that other stuff that's not so important, that just goes in a box called paper. Generic. Until you can get around to setting up your department. So I know what I'm doing for her, and I'm excited. So we'd work together one day, get to enjoy her beautiful twins. Told her my hardest part of my job is to get her to sit down, to get any of my clients to sit down while I bring them paper, divided into 2 sections, important must-have paper right now, while I gather the paper from all around the house, off of the floor, from the failed device, because that's why the paper was on the floor. She had no device, and life had taken over. She was miserable. Comes home from the psychologist's office, and I'm like, yay, go to bed, you're sleepy. She hadn't had sleep in 3 days. Go to bed, yay. She's thinking, why does she want me to go to bed? I really should be helping you. You're not well. So she goes to bed, and I'm giggling to myself because I know what I'm getting ready to do. I went and set up her nursery. 4.5-month-old boys, beautiful twin boys. She doesn't have time for that, so she's sleeping. An hour later, she wakes up, because it didn't take long. Once I got all the paper off the floor, once we got the trash out, so she could see, baby starts crying, the baby that she's holding starts crying. Well, I left something out. I got to observe the most beautiful thing. Her husband took the other twin, stepped back, the 2 of them, and I got to watch this father nurture these beautiful babies and to witness how much he truly loved this woman who's just beaten up on herself. The whole time she was gone at the psychologist's office, we had discussions about hope and how happy your wife is going to be at the end of the day. You just watch and see. And hold those babies, and when you can't handle them, I'll put the pacifier in the one that's screaming's mouth. Okay? Mom goes to sleep when she gets home, finally. She wakes up an hour later. I'd given the dad a tour of the room. She comes in and bursts into tears. And it was so beautiful to watch him put the baby in the crib for the first time. And then go get the other baby and put it in the crib for the first time. Do you know how cool that was to witness? All because there was some paper on the floor? Yeah, so sometimes what we think is the worst thing in the world, our office desk, could be the best thing in the world that could possibly happen to you. You might be the person who goes to Martha and says, you know what, I think Valerie's right. I understand this. I understand what Valerie's saying. What if we did standardize our system? What if we buddied up and helped each other make a system so that your desk makes sense to mine? 2 brains are better than 1, right? What if we alphabetize it together? What if we made it a team project? However you want to do it. But if you all work together, let's say Connie breaks her, no, let's not have you have a broken bone. Come up with something else. What's wrong with you, Connie? Come make up a mystery illness.
I have a cold.
She has a cold. She has a cold. Really, she's at Dollywood. Oh, that's right. You're all at Dollywood. So let's say she's got a cold. And what's your name?
Johnny.
Johnny has to come cover for Connie. Oh, wow, that rhymed. Told you, I'm not your mother's professional organizer. I'm not well. Connie, Johnny's going to come sit behind you. How's that going to go? Is she going to be able to find anything and do your job for a week?
I will be laughing.
She's laughing. She's laughing. That's when you're at home trying to recover from your cold or whatever it is and the phone keeps ringing. I can't find. Where do you keep? Okay, so filing. Does the concept that I sort of have introduced, I know being able to see it in person will help, but does the concept of what I'm explaining to you as far as the file folders go make sense? Oh, I see heads nodding, I heard an oh yes, okay, good. Good. Okay, another tool that is very, very effective are binders. But one of these things is not like the other. Here's one binder, okay? Really, it would be a great fan. And then here is binder. Which of those two binders do you suppose I prefer? Why? Solid, sturdy, can stand up, can be labeled. Let's see if this guy will stand up. I don't know. Okay, so then I just created a problem for myself. All day long I'm wasting time picking up something that keeps falling over. By the way, if something is driving you crazy at work and sometimes you want to throw it, that means it's a problem. It's true. I mean, if you feel like you're going to lose your mind sometimes whenever you have to open that second drawer, that means it's a problem. Hey, by the way, you know, I'm not telling on anybody in here, but I'm sure there's at least one. That big, deep, nice drawer to the left of where you sit is not purse storage. However, it does make an ideal place to store your paper. And it's convenient, right? These little plastic bins here come with rails. I cannot tell you how many companies I have worked for where there is a file drawer that somebody used to use as purse storage that didn't have those little metal rail things that hold the, you know what I'm talking about? So that, you know, once you get the purse out of there, then you see somebody trying to file without a place to hang the hanging file folders. It's like, wow, the instructions are actually built into the title. They're called hanging file folders for a reason. Or people who just try to file with raggedy manila folders and nothing else. I'm like, oh, I bet your cuticles are a mess. I bet you are suffering from not just paper cuts all day long, but manila folder cuts. Oh, and guess what? Their thumbs are usually nubs. And the index finger is always gone too. All right, so let's talk about something cheerful. Binders that work. Page protectors. Do you guys have master forms that you have to copy and use all over and over and over and over again? Okay, so let's just call this binder our master form binder, okay? Just for sake of ease. Page protectors and dividers. I know this sounds silly. Did this lady just tell us how to use a binder? Oh, you know what? That actually kind of makes sense. Oh, I think I'm going to do it that way. Page protectors are really great for papers that you have to use over and over and over and over again as far as duplication, right? Keeps them nice and pristine and this and that, as opposed to those. Has anybody ever seen a 5th generation copy? A copy that it's been copied and recopied and copied and copied so much that you can't even tell what it is anymore? Somebody's laughing. Yeah, those drive me nuts. Especially when you're professionals. You're all professionals. You deserve pretty pristine paper, right? All right, so page protectors. However, how do you know what okay, in those little books that you have right now, have you noticed those little dividers that you have actually stick out from the paper? Well, guess what? If you were to put page protectors on them, they wouldn't stick out. You wouldn't be able to see the dividers. Why? Anybody know why? Because the page protectors have 3 holes in them, so they can fit in the 3-ring binder, which is what they're made for. But the page protectors are all, the dividers, there's a divider, by themselves are really made for just individual paper, not paper that's inside a page protector. So if you put your paper in a page protector, all of a sudden your little fancy, fancy, schmancy pink 4, number 4, because it looks like y'all are on tab number, well, Tina's on tab number 4. She's an A+ student. They'll disappear, so what's the point? Well, years ago, when I was organizing somebody, I got tired of not knowing what was in the big master form book. So I got the idea to take my tab. Do you know what I mean by the tabs? Like the ones that are in your book? That just happens to be a numeric version. Right now I'm talking more like alpha, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Put the page divider inside the page protector and cut a slot so that your tab can come out. Does that make sense? It'll be up here for you to see exactly what kind of madness I'm talking about. It's real simple to do. You just need a teeny pair of scissors and a little bit of patience. It'll take you about a half an hour. You know what this is great for, this technique? Because I like to multitask. Talking about how to do master form books and things at work and get your life organized, your desk feeling better. You're all happy. You go ask for a raise. Martha, they all need a raise. Just saying. Recipes. This is how I treat my recipes at home. I got my family recipes, this and that and all that, and it's labeled because when I die, my kids are going to be like, ooh, I wish I had some of Mom's cornbread. It's in the book. And the book will last forever, and it's all labeled, it's all organized. And you can see what the categories are because even the individual index pages are also protected. And you notice, look, this one I had the nerve to decorate and make fancy. It's just a piece of paper that I stuck in there. So you can have, I know it sounds crazy, but can it be fun? Yeah. And really rewarding when you see how simple it is and how much easier it makes your life. Because it does. Organization is awesome. Okay, calendars. Who uses a paper calendar? Raise them high so I can kind of get an idea. Okay, so about half the room. Paper calendars are awesome. This is my personal paper calendar. We're halfway through the year. Let's see. Back in December when I ordered something, or when I bought a product from Hiller Plumbing, I wrote, in June 1st, call Hiller Plumbing to have water heater flushed. I knew already back in December there was no way I was going to remember to do that. I put it in my calendar. Therefore, that is one less thing on my mental list, right? A calendar is really just a list manager. And I've seen people abuse, you talk about file abuse, I've seen people abuse calendars. I had this one client, oh, is she funny? She had a calendar at work, and her boss kept saying, what are you doing? I'm not joking, her calendar said brush teeth, go to lunch, organize your desk. So I call that a list maker. A list maker is someone who spends a whole lot of time and energy making these lists and lists and lists and lists. I'm going to get this done because it feels so good to check off that list. Well, some folks get stuck at the list because now your brain has tricked itself into thinking, phew, made my list. I just did something big. Well, until it's crossed off the list, you really haven't done anything. Matter of fact, outside her, going outside of her home, leaving her home, her list had gone to sticky notes. She started putting sticky notes all over her wall, and I'm like, what are you doing? Well, this way I remember if I didn't comb my hair, that I need to go back to the bathroom and comb my hair. You have to remind yourself to call, sweetheart. Really? Yeah, and then she'd go to the psychologist, because remember I say depression and stuff are related. She'd go to the psychologist, and the psychologist would give her a list of things to do. So she'd be frustrated. She'd be like, he told me to do my laundry. He told me to do, I don't understand why I can't do it. I go, because you keep making lists. Huh. Showed her how to use a calendar, and it was like, oh. So, let's see, I even have in here you guys somewhere. Call Kelsey to confirm. Pigeon Forge. Martha, when did we first talk? Like 6 months ago? I'm sorry, 6 weeks ago? About 6 weeks ago? First thing I did was went and put y'all in my calendar. In pencil, so I didn't forget. That's one less thing off my list. One less stress. I call it how many footsteps can we eliminate in our day? How can you simplify everything so that your desk runs itself? And your desk really can operate itself. All right, there's another failed device up here. Anybody figure out what it is? The trays. Yep. Wise woman. What's that?
I've got some on my desk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, the trays. These are what I call an opportunity to procrastinate. You just stick it in there and it looks so, ooh, she's smiling, she knows. Not me. I don't do that, I don't know nothing. Opportunity to procrastinate. Because once it disappears into that black hole, and it doesn't matter if it's blue or pink or fancy, or you can put rhinestones on it, it's still procrastinating. These are great for one purpose, in my opinion, and that is general forms. Like if someone comes to your desk and says, do you have any face sheets? Oh yeah, they're right there. However, because visual clutter can make you insane, that's why I'm telling you these stories about these women and men. Just seeing it all makes you go, ah! Right? Oop, there go my glasses, see? Yeah, I mean, just clutter visually can make you nuts. It's real. That is a real feeling for people. And then the sense of failure thinking, I can't, it's too much, I'm overwhelmed, I can't see it. And people are, what's wrong with Susie? Susie's not acting right today. Did you look in Susie's desk in her cubicle? That's what's wrong with Susie. This file folder in a tray is labeled on the top of the file folder and on the tab. Here, this is my version of a pretty folder. I'm cheap. But it's burgundy, and it doesn't bother me to look at, and it says dealing with paper. Little sheets for general giveaway, right? So if somebody said, Valerie, do you have any sheets on dealing with paper? I can say, yes, I do. They're in that burgundy folder right there. Now you all know where they are. See how organized? Yeah, it's not hard. The other tool that is nice, this looks like a journal, right? It's not a journal. This is another version of a list. It's a book, different from a calendar, that is cleverly disguised as a journal. It's really a tool. Mom's 75th birthday, August 3rd, 2013, Saturday. That was evidently a date I knew I had better not forget if I want to still be in the will, right? Put her stuff in here, and in here I've got favorite recipes for Thanksgiving and my shopping list. Favorite things to make for Thanksgiving or whatever holiday it is that you celebrate. So that once a year, when that time comes, guess what? I don't have to make the list to go shopping again because I always make the same traditional meals. If I want to change it up, all I have to do is add a little sticky note on top of the shopping list. So my shopping list is done for in perpetuity. Travel. My travel plans are in here. This is what we call my sacred book. Because again, when I die, trust me, my kids are going to be arguing over this book. They've seen me use it. It'll teach them how to throw a party. It'll teach them what to do when, and I don't, so it's one less thing on my brain. One less thing. Because I'm telling you, when you feel overwhelmed because of stuff, you probably are. I had this little client, Hootie. Matter of fact, somebody told me they were going to call Children's Protective Services on me. They're like, you can't make a little 18-year-old work. That's child abuse. Well, kids like being organized. They like it. Hootie, his name was Hootie. Hootie was a character at 18 months. He was very clear to his mother, I'm an organized person, you are not. He couldn't talk, but he knew. And you can't cook either, Mom. I'm tired of this baby food. He's in his high chair, and she's just going, hair on fire is what I call it. Her hair was on fire. Has anybody ever felt like their hair is on fire? Because I have. Like you just want to scream for no reason and you're not menopausal. Right? There's no hot flashes. It's the hair. It's the hair. Yeah, her. Mom is losing her mind, and she's trying to feed the baby real quick and running around, like a chicken with her head cut off, and I'm just looking at her thinking, see, I told you, the hardest part of my job is getting my client to sit down. She's like, he drives me crazy. He's 18 months old. That child doesn't know about how to make you crazy. He's just having fun. You're entertaining. Matter of fact, you're entertaining to me. I'm gonna sit here and watch. It was fascinating. She puts down his little bowl of food that he doesn't want to eat, because he can't talk, and tell her, I don't like this stuff anymore. And the minute she turned her back, I saw the game begin. He takes the bowl of food and is getting ready to dump it on the floor. And I caught it, and I looked at him, and I said, no. And he looked at me like he got busted. I was like, okay, that kid understands English. He may not be able to talk, but he knows no. And he put his hands on his ears, and he kind of looked mad at me, looked at me. By the time I was done with that client, that little boy's room, I said, okay, so he doesn't like what you're eating. You know, taught her how to make some quick barbecue chicken. It took me 2 minutes to make her dinner. That means put it in the oven. That was dinner made, done. She called me that night and she goes, you know what? Hootie really likes barbecue chicken. I said, I told you, Mom, your child was hungry. He's tired of eating baby food. He's 18 months old, he has teeth. He wants to chew something. She had an 8-year-old little girl who had paper. Paper from school, paper from, I'm telling you, the world, it's a conspiracy. They're all out to get us. Everybody's trying to get paper in your house, trust me. Don't order a subscription to the New York Times, by the way. I used to work there. They're real good at sending you lots and lots of paper. Really good. So I made this little girl a filing system. Taught her how to save money. She's 8 years old. Dad calls me and he goes, I don't know what you did to my daughter and to my wife. He goes, I'm thinking I'm going to get yelled at. I'm like, oh, what did I do? He says, the house stays clean. He goes, I thought the woman was raised by a wild tiger and she's keeping the house clean. He goes, and the other day, she was out having a girl date, a really nice husband, really great guy. She was out having a girl's day out and I got to be home with my daughter and he goes, you had told me to reward her when she does certain things and I gave her a card. And I said, oh, that's very sweet. He goes, well, we were sitting there watching TV on the bed, and I thought it was sweet, too. He goes, she hopped down and ran in the other room and disappeared. I was like, oh, I'm just happy that I'm not in trouble. I mean, I'm thinking that's the end of the story. Okay. He says, so after a while, he kind of got to missing her. It's like, we were having so much fun. Where did she go? He goes into her room, and she was in there filing. At 8! He said, you have just paid for my child's education. I said, well, how's that? He goes, I ran back into my bedroom and dug out every dollar that I had in my wallet to throw at her. And he goes, and then she really freaked me out because she took, just like I told her, 10%. At 8 years old, they do understand that 80 cents is 10% of $8. He goes, I gave her $8, and she tithed it into her savings. I said, see, ain't so stupid. At 8 years old, she was filing. But all she needed was a system. And so I'm, encouraging all of you, work together to standardize, even if it's just the 3 of you, or 4 of you, or doing it through phone calls, or emailing back and forth, how to standardize. And I think once you see this, now this is the home version, but once you can see a way to standardize your filing systems at work, all of y'all will be able to cross-utilize each other's talents, because I'm telling you what, none of you would be here if you weren't talented. I'm quite confident that this is a room filled with very skilled representatives of the NHC. And I don't want anyone in here feeling stressed out over a desk, because it's just a desk. It's the organization. The disorganization is what will make you crazy. The organization will make your job easier, faster, and better. All right, I talked to Martha about a concept that my mother introduced to me years and years and years ago that I never understood. First of all, when I joked earlier that I am not well, I'm not. What I have is a form of OCD. Lots of people do. Like there are some folks who have to turn the light switch on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off 4 times or somebody's going to die. That's a real thing. I have to organize. It is my compulsion. So I just figured out a way to make a good living with my sickness. And anybody can do it. It's just literally processes. When someone is disorganized, it means one of 2 things, which leads to depression. That's the third, but it leads to that. A tool is missing, or it is a failed device, like some of the failed devices that I've shown you. That's one. Number 2, it means a step in a process is missing. That's all lack of organization is. And again, it really makes me sad that there are so many people feeling defeated and guilty and It's hard enough to be a human being as it is. Why are we going to let a bunch of paper ruin our self-esteem? Really? You know, it's just paper. You're the boss of paper. Paper ain't the boss of you. True. It's just paper. Organization, that's all. It's just process. But if no one ever showed you that process, just like my father did not show me how to do fractions. So imagine the surprise that I got when I got into geometry. Well, we lived in Canada for 2 years, and they were teaching us metric math. New math and metrics at the same time, while all the children in the United States were learning fractions. I didn't know that nobody taught me fractions. So I just thought I stunk at math. I thought I was stupid. I don't understand math. My dad keeps saying, you're going to be an aeronautical engineer. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. You think so? Is there any math involved in that? You'll be the first woman into space. Whoa, is there any math involved in that? But I was always real organized. It's just the way I am. Not everybody is. But I'm not mad at people who can do fractions, just like people who are great, although I am really good at fractions now. Sewing math and cooking. You know, that's the easiest way to teach somebody how to do fractions is give them some measuring cups or teaspoons. It's true. So, but I didn't realize I didn't understand fractions until I was like, oh, organizing is the same way. Typically, a step is missing. How are we doing on time? Because I have not looked at time. I'm having too much fun. Here we go. 3:44. Martha, you start doing this when it's time for me to wrap up. Let's see if she's doing it. That's TV lingo for, yeah. Hey, by the way, back to the principle that my mother taught me. She said, Valerie, you will always, always have a job if you work yourself out of one. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I'm supposed to try to get fired? No. She said that most people my mother's an extreme professional. Air Force wife, Air Force brat. We moved every 2 years, so imagine what life is like for her trying to get a job every time we move to a new place, like the Philippines. Huh. Work your way out of a job, that doesn't make any sense. She taught me how to file. So everywhere I would go, here came my sickness, I was like, this is fun. I'm kind of liking this filing thing. I'm really good at it. I don't know. So as an actress, you have to have a day job, right? Because all of us actors are broke. I would file. I'd get these jobs and I'd be like, oh my goodness, their filing system is a mess. And I would improve their filing system. And the next thing you know, the company is running better. Reorganize their spreadsheets, this and that. Back then, that's when we were doing spreadsheets by hand. No Excel, although I love Excel. Oh man, Excel turned me into a monster. An absolute monster. Made alphabetizing real easy. So I would set up these, I've done it for the New York Times, I've done it for Nickelodeon Studios, I've done it for Henson Productions. Yes, I used to work with the Muppets. I didn't get to do all of those jobs because I'm the brightest person in the room. It was because I was organized and I know how to manage my time, and that makes me happy. Matter of fact, this one guy, this is at Macy's in New York. We were in the break room, he goes, Valerie, and okay, New York is different from East Tennessee. I don't know where all of you from, but different. He says, Valerie, I saw you in a break room in front of a group full of salespeople, okay? I'm just sitting there eating my lunch, minding my own business, and he says, I saw you on TV last night. Well, he didn't know I was an actor. Most of us actors are ashamed. We don't tell people that we're actors. I said, it's possible. So I just said, you did. What did you see me on? Because I've been on national television. What did you see me on? He goes, America's Most Wanted. I was like offended because he said it in front of a room full of people. And I don't want them to believe it. I'm like, no, you did not. Plus, even though I'm a public speaker and I'm trained to do this is kind of like my little trained monkey act here, dog and pony show. I'm a shy person by nature, and I don't like a lot of attention. I just happen to be a professional at it, that's all. Anyway, he was America's Most Wanted. No, you did not. I was not. I'm justifying. I was not on America's Most Wanted last night, and Anyway, he goes, yeah, you were. He goes, because anybody that happy has got to be running from the law. Isn't that an awful thing to say? I tell you what, though, I outsold all of those boys because I had a binder that I called my little red wagon. Matter of fact, I loved my binder so much, that's why I encourage you to get pretty file folders. Splurge. It's only $3 more. It's better than the $500 shoes, trust me. Trust me. I took my binder and I covered it with leather and I put handles on it because we worked at this furniture gallery and we'd had to carry our binder everywhere we go. So I'm watching people hustle. Remember I said less footsteps with these big heavy binders. I'm like, that's too much work. I'm gonna make a wagon. So I turned my binder into a cute little purse. I decorated my binders with flowers and happy things. When I finally quit that job, it was a day job, always organizing, working my way out of a job. When I quit that job, do you know they were begging for my binder, my little wagon? That they teased me about? You guess who won it? The one who didn't make fun of me. That's who I gave it to, and I made a big deal out of giving it to her as I went on to work at MGM Studios as a contract writer. I was like, who do you think you are? Don't make fun of us organized people. You don't know who I am. Right? All because I was organized. Not because I'm a genius, not because I'm that talented, but because I save time and I'm happy because I'm organized. All right, last thing. Am I doing okay? Last thing, beauty. Okay, so it's not like Waterford crystal, but it's fine for an office. I'm going to use it as an example. More is not better, especially if paper is driving you insane and your purse has taken up your real estate for the files. Beautify the top of your desk. Instead of having a bunch of tchotchke and junk and 500 photos of your family, and just keep the family pictures on your computer or on your phone. It'll be all right. You can show them to people. You can still brag. But make your desk beautiful. Make it sparkle. I mean, I would use this for pens. It's actually a very fancy candle holder. But I don't want to clean any wax out of that. So to me, fill it with pens. Beautiful things. Beats a coffee cup. Things to make you smile. You know, it doesn't have to be, one of the things that cracks me up, I know, okay, for the person who owns one of these, don't get mad at me. I'm not talking about you. I wasn't looking. I didn't see it. Everybody, I know somebody in this room, I'm not talking about you, I promise, has a little flower pot with a little flower in it that moves back and forth, solar operated. That's like watching the little colorful metronome, y'all, trying to make yourself nuts. Hypnosis, I think is what that's called. Seems like a good idea. See, they're always trying to sell you something that'll make you crazy. They're cute, right? So I encourage every one of you, organize. Make your desk a thing of beauty. Make it sparkle. I could go on and on and on about how in my day job, they try to keep me, I'd get trapped working with these. I'd be like, hey, I started out as a 10. I'm an actor. I don't want to be here. I don't want to organize all your, okay. You know, so I turn a $10 an hour job into a $50,000 a year job, all because I can file? Is filing really that big of a deal? Evidently, it is. But you all can do it. Martha knows how to reach me. I've got some some magnets up here with my website and my phone number. Any of you are welcome to call me at any time. Phone calls are free. Thank you very much. And I'm here to take questions. What's that? Oh, raffle. Yes, yes, yes. Here. I'm going to come by. Yay, thank you for reminding me. You ever see anybody get so excited to give something away before? Thank you.
I don't know.
This beautiful, and see, it's useful. Wasn't that clever? Something beautiful. What'd you think I was going to put them in a paper bag? Shake and bake raffle. Shake and bake. All right, while we're collecting these, does anybody have any questions for me? Does anybody have any questions? The social worker. Oh, I was afraid I didn't think you want me to tell it. You want me to? Okay, we have a story by request here. This is a true story. Thank you, Martha. I was scared to tell this story. I told you I could. Oh, relate. Okay, good. Did everybody turn in their raffle ticket? Martha, I'm going to have you do the honors up here and draw in a second. Okay, so I get this phone call. A client referred a client. A client referred a client to me because on a Friday afternoon, she got sick. She got sick and there was an emergency. She had to rush out of the office. She was the admissions director for a nursing home. And her boss, evidently nobody checked on her. She was doing a good job maintaining the fort, so nobody went digging in her desk until there was an emergency in the nursing home immediately after she had left for work that afternoon. So her boss goes in to find the paper. What the event was they could not find, a client was suffering from a patient, I guess, a resident was suffering from a life-threatening illness, and they were trying to decide, does this person have a do not resuscitate order or not? That's a pretty big deal, right? So they go to her office to try to find the DNR report. Can't find it because her office was completely hoarded. Her stuff from home had even begun. She was moving into the office. No, I'm joking. She'd run out of room at home, so coping. She had underwear, packages of brand new underwear in there. She had everything was in there besides the kitchen sink. Okay. There was a floor in there, but I had to find it. So we worked together one day on a Sunday, and her whole what happened was, because that's what I call it. What happened was came out, and this patient, thank God, they took him to the emergency room, and he did want to be resuscitated. Can you imagine what would have happened if they hadn't? Can you imagine? I mean, that's a lawsuit, right? You let him die or her die when she wanted to go to the hospital. Patient survived, by the way, so that's the good news. Anyway, her boss, this was a Friday, said, because she rushed back to the office, she found the paper. Only she understood her system. Now do you see why I say work yourself out of a job? Make it so everybody knows how to do your job? That's the true job security. That is how you impress people. That they can come to you and you are the person who knows where everything is. It's not job security to hide everything so that you're the only one who can follow your breadcrumbs. Nope. So anyway, he tells her, get back to this office. You almost killed somebody. If your desk is not cleared up by Sunday, you're fired. She's the primary breadwinner, 16-year-old son, mortgage, car payment, life. How's she going to get another job by Sunday? So they call me. One afternoon, we had so much fun doing this. And that's all it was. Files, binders, take the purse out of the drawer, take the food out of the drawer. Oh, by the way, your desk is not a food cabinet either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So she's freaked out when I get there. Freaked out. I would be freaked out too if I've never been fired, by the way, ever. I quit a lot of jobs, especially those day jobs. Love to quit those. She was panicked. And she was living in remorse and shame. And now her boss knew. So we get her organized in one day. And she was a new woman. And I'm not playing. She was a brand new human being. And she was so proud. She called me on Monday and told me thank you. She was crying. So this was when our market during the introduction said loss of job. I'm not playing. When I say saving marriages, I truly am not playing. All these women who are running their husbands' businesses and they've got paper everywhere that they're supposed to be taking care of and they can't find the tax return from last year. And husband is like, if you don't come up with that 10,000 check that you've lost in that pile of paper, I'm gone. That's real. Anyway, so she calls me crying, saved her job. And then her boss said, now keep it that way. And I said, well, you're going to get that, but you just don't lose my number. You'll be fine. Haven't heard from her since. We're friends on Facebook. Right? So I'm the only person in the business who, the worse it is, the happier I am. I've never seen a bunch of clutter that I didn't like. That's like I never met a man I didn't like, you know, that type of thing. That's not true. I've met lots of them. Yeah, I love clutter. But we're also, at least me, my version of organization, I don't want any repeat customers. Because if I don't help you feel better, and if you needing me to come back, I don't want repeat business. I want to fix it as quickly and as efficiently and affordably as possible because I know what's at the other end. You can be crazy like me. All right, let's do this drawing. Hey, Martha. I'm stirring him up. I know. Saving footsteps. Thank you for asking me to tell that story. Can anybody in here relate to that story? Yeah. All right, I'm not looking. She's not looking. Yeah. And I'll put my website up here while you guys mill around. And please, if you have questions, you are welcome to ask me. Judy Wilson. Yay! Right there. Yay! Congratulations, Judy. And you guys are all welcome to come take a look at this and ask me questions. And if there's anyone who would like to talk to me privately, that's part of why I'm here. I'm going to stay around for a little bit to answer questions. Do not be shy. I've had women come up to me after things like this in tears. Not because of anything that I said, but because something that's going on at home that needs to be addressed. So I thank you very much for your time. You have been lovely.